Hello, welcome back to Take 5 at 5, and I'm your host today, Mui Han here. How is everybody? Hope that everybody is having a good time. So today we have a very interesting episode because one of the founders or co-founders of Take 5 at 5 is going to be the guest speaker. And I was previously a guest, today I'll be hosting instead. So without further ado, let me welcome our guest for today, which is none other than Jack Tan. Jack, welcome
Hello.
to Take 5 at 5.
Oh, I feel at home today.
So to our audience out there who have just come on board, we'd like to really welcome you. And if you can do us a kind favor to do a watch party so that more people can actually tune in to this very special episode of Take 5 at 5. All right. So I think one of the key questions that we wanted to touch upon this afternoon for our viewers and our audience sake is that this whole idea of how can we create a differentiator in terms of virtual communication, because moving on, or I think it's already now, post MCO, one of the key features of our working environment would be to blend with actually this idea of managing our team, managing our clients, managing our stakeholders virtually using a platform of in turn of a video call, webinars, and so on and so forth. So we thought will be interesting and be useful to get Jack to share with us some of the key features, especially in terms of slides design. Because I think as I was also doing my own show, I realized that these days, the attention span for our audience on the screen is actually very minimal. So the only way to engage them better is to really create something authentically nice. So with that, maybe just to get your opening thoughts on that, Jack.
Yeah, so Muihan, I think for the topic of slide design, I already started learning about slide design probably 10 years ago. But during when I was working in the bank and I was working with data, working with numbers, I find it very hard and very challenging to put together all these numbers and put it into a presentation deck so that it makes it easier for me to explain to my bosses who are not, they probably don't know what happened on the back end. But when it comes to presentation design, if you can direct some of their attention by using some visualization, by using some pictures, data, you can actually direct some of their attention to the key point that you want the bosses to look at. And that actually helps me a lot in my career. But during that time, slide design was not really something that, people would want to invest on, or probably, something that people would put in a priority into. So, but when it comes to today, especially at this COVID-19, where more and more people are going online, I can see that beginning when people are starting to do virtual communication, a lot of people are turning off their microphone. A lot of people are turning off their webcam. So it's mostly like people are talking on the phone. So for leaders who actually can make a difference, or leaders who can engage their team members, are those who can make full use of the virtual communication or collaboration tools. And one of it is to use share screen. And especially if you want to share a point with your team members remotely, I think one of the things is for you to share screen. But I can still see that, in some of the meetings that I've been to, Zoom meetings, or be it Microsoft Teams meetings, the slides that I can see are still a lot of words. It's as though I feel that probably we don't need to have that meeting. You can just send across the document. I can just read it by myself. Right? What for do I need my boss there to read it for me? I don't need, right? Yeah. So the whole idea of slide design, and I came out, and of course my friends asked me to share, and they felt that this would be a right time for them to learn a little bit of the slide design principle to help them to improvise or do some, makeover in terms of their slides so that they can engage their stakeholders. Yeah.
Great. So just for the viewers' attention, just like to share because we are on episode. Today is episode 33,
33.
right?
Yes.
And yes, 33. And for the last 32 episodes, with the many guests and some returning guests, Jack is actually the man behind the scene that do all the beautiful for all our guests and for all the show. So with that, can I invite all our audience to give Jack a big clap? Just comment there, clap. Thank you for all the big slides and the wonderful, beautiful, impactful slides. And yes, let's continue on that subject. I think it's very key that you highlighted that the point because it's really true. The attention span over the screen is actually very important, and creating impactful slides is the one that actually differentiates. Especially not only meetings, but webinars that some of us attend. We find that certain speakers still are very much, I would say, 1990s slide, so they still use a bit of clip art, and some moving animation, which tends to, how to say, disengage the audience. So maybe with that, I'm sure you have some principles or some ideas. If you can, maybe just share with us quickly, Jack.
Yeah. So when you use the slide design, the one that the principle that I use the most is, of course, always compel people by using visual image. So when you can't meet people face to face, right? One thing that a lot of people are very reluctant to go on virtual meeting or virtual training is the argument is always talking about the lack of emotional connection. But when it comes to emotional connection, if you use text or just words, right, you find it very difficult for you to engage your audience or your stakeholders through a webcam. But what you can do is when you place an image, just like the one that you're seeing right now on the screen, that says that 90% of human thoughts are visually based, then that image itself can actually reach out into people's emotion or reach out to people in terms of people's feelings. So, and when there's also a saying that says, facts tells and emotions actually sells. So if you can convince people emotionally, people will probably give you a better buy-in, right? And there was also a survey that was done by the Wharton University that says that 50% of audience will be persuaded by listening. So of course, with your speech, if you just play with your tonation, if you give the eye-to-eye contact, right, you still can engage your audience. But 67% of them say that they'll be persuaded by accompanying visual. If they can see it, then the likeliness for them to believe it is higher. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I really like this research that you're sharing, because a lot of our managers, leaders, as well as even trainers and consultants, we all been raised to say that content will actually drive you through, and in any communication course that you go to, any effective speaking, to a certain extent, we always emphasize that your speaking communication need to come first, and you put more emphasis on that. Any visual aids is supposed to be secondary. While I think that statement is still true, I think this confirms that although we say visual aids are secondary, I think what is important to let our audience know that visual aids, it is also critical. Secondary doesn't mean that you don't look at it and don't do it well. Secondary here means it aids you and enhances your delivery. And in your study, that shows that it goes up another 17%. That is a lot in today's world, especially if you imagine you're a professional manager 8 hours a day during this MCO period or CMCO period. You go into meetings after meetings, webinars after webinars. I think after the third webinar, if the slides are not visually attractive, you tend to get very disengaged. Wouldn't you agree on that, Jack?
Yes, correct. So I think what you say is correct. Normally, before MCO, right, before this MCO period, I normally tell people you need to use visual aid to actually be your supporting actor. The main character should always be the presenter. But I find it that, as you mentioned, where a lot of people are going through this Zoom meeting fatigue, and if they look at another face or they look at another slides that have a lot of text or is filled with a lot of noises or probably distraction, people are going to tune off. They are more likely to just turn off their video. They'll just play with their phone, or probably they just play with their kids at home, because most of the people are working from home right now. So if you have a very compelling image, if I were to put a picture of people, probably hanging themselves in an office, then a lot of people, especially at this time, right, when people look at the image, they're going to have strike a lot of this curiosity, where it will signify that, are we going through a retrenchment? Are we going through a layoff? And how is it going to be done? How are those people going to be selected? Is it me? Is it you? Is it my boss? So they will create a lot of questions, whereby it will create like a hook for them to wait for what the speaker have to say. So I think in terms of using images, in your presentation slide, if you were to do like a virtual communication, that will really, really increase the impact.
Great. So for those who have just joined us, welcome again to another episode of Take 5 at 5. We are at episode 33, and today is indeed a special because our co-founder, co-host, now is the guest speaker. So in his place, I take his place to actually host him, to get Jack to share his story or to share his idea of why does it matter more to have attractive slides design, especially in the virtual communication environment. So for all our friends who have just joined us, thank you for tuning in. So maybe you can share one or two things that our viewers and audience can quickly take back so that they can actually start to implement. Jack, how about that?
Right, so I actually prepared a short video clip, but before I show you the video clip, this is actually a real content from my slide design course, which will be happening tomorrow. So on 13th of June, there will be a short course on how you can improve your slide design in a short period of time by using 3 very simple principles. So if you don't know where to start from, this is the course for you. Let's say you have been using all the templates that PowerPoint has given you, and your slides you feel that need some improvement, but you don't know where to start, and this is the course definitely for you. And if you stay until the end of the show, I will give you a promo code, which will give you some discount as well, freebies if you stay until the end of the show. So
yay, promo code, yay!
Yeah. So one of the thanks, Muihan, for asking. So one of the concept that we share is how do you use images. So a lot of people, when they use images, right, sometimes they just take any random images and they just slap into the slides, and that's it lah. Because Jack say you must have images, and images creates emotion, right, and reach into people's emotion. Just take and dump into it lah, But sometimes there will be also cases where we find images, but then when we want to put in the text, right, we find it, very difficult. So one of the concepts that I use I share during the course is called the crop and zoom, the crop and zoom function. So maybe it's actually a 3-minute demo. It's a live session that I've done it during my session. So I just take a snippet of it. Maybe we can have a look at it. So
sure, let's look at that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this part is where we're going to share with you on one of the concepts that we use part of our slide design course. And this is the actual content from the course itself. And one of the things is to share with you on how do you use images, and how do you adjust it based on zoom and crop concept. So for example, let's just put in an image here. So this is a high quality image. In order for you to use zoom and crop, you will need to have the image that have high definition and high resolution. So if you look at the image here right now, this image, they have a lot of things by the side here, and these are all the noises. And here I want to put in a text that says laughter reduces stress at work. And for this, I want to focus on just the lady, maybe on her interacting with her colleagues. All right, and this is something, the side here is something that I don't want. So probably I'll just click on the image. Let's just show you how easy it is for you to crop an image. All right, so you want to make sure that, okay, the lady is in the focus. Okay, a little bit on the co-worker, and put it down here. Then now I want to go ahead and put in my text. Laughter reduce stress at work. Okay. And probably I want to make this laughter a bigger font. Change it to Arial. Bold it. Okay, put it down here. Increase the font size. Maybe I can move it down a little bit. Okay, so you have it. But you see that the top here is missing, right? So you can actually duplicate this image, all right? And you can crop it so that it's above the head of the people, and you can drag this because the wall is repetitive. So even if it's a little bit distorted, it will still look nice, right? So what if you want to do it horizontally? Okay, so let's say you want to do it horizontally. So same thing, let me just reset this picture. Okay, so this is how big the picture looks like. So if you want to put it horizontally, this is how you can do it. All right, crop it. Probably you want to change the orientation of the slide a little bit. You want to focus on a different format so that you don't bore. So if you look at this picture, right, the subject is actually in the middle, but you want to put it by the side following the rule of third. So you can actually shift this and you can zoom in, provided that your picture is a high quality, high definition, high resolution image. Okay, so you can place it this way and you can copy your text, copy, paste, and probably increase the font size. There you go.
Wow. Thanks for that. Just for the viewers audience, I got to say that personally, I've attended Jack's slide design plus session. It's a 3-hour session. And in this session, Jack actually walked through, I think, 10 areas, 9 or 10, I cannot remember, to actually show you actually why it's important to actually pay attention to this very simple yet profound tips. I say profound is because by the naked eye, if we explain to you, then you say, that makes sense. But if we don't tell you, actually you don't know. So that is one of the things I think personally, why I also got Jack to do that clip was because I think that is something that most of us would need to do in our presentation. Nothing fanciful. You sure need to put image anyway, but a lot of times, even when I do it, I put an image, the orientation not right, the picture don't cover enough. Then until I learn this cropping thing, wow, this is like a breakthrough for me. Really, then when I learn to crop, then the cropping of it will put the image to exactly the right size that we want in the slides. Okay, so maybe just to check, Jack, in that aspect, besides this, what are some of the things that you will cover in the session tomorrow?
Yeah. So if you look at the clip just now, right, I actually been using several other tips and principle, even though I was demonstrating the zoom and crop function. But one of the things is always people will always ask me if let's say I do not have a full size image to fill up the entire screen, or probably I'm not showing something that is like a newsletter or probably like a sales slides. Then let's say if I was to show like I want to put in more data, more content. So how do I go about it? I cannot present to my management. My entire deck is only images, right? I need to put in some text because my boss, it would be funny if your CEO were to receive your presentation deck all only have images. There's no text, right? So the next principle is to follow the rule of third. So the rule of third will actually helps guide you on where to put images and where would be a best place for you to place a text. Yeah, so if you see in my demonstration just now, there was also a few location that I actually put the text strategically. So it's all intentionally placed there rather than just randomly step onto the slides. Yeah.
Yep. So yes, that is a very important and one of the key aspects, and I feel that a lot of times if we don't know this and we don't have a guiding principle, we tend to go with the suka basis. We say should be here lah, then we just put it here. All right. So maybe I think we can take one question. I think there are a few questions here, but maybe let's take one question. If Hilson can just. This is from Dr. Surya, I think. So the question is, there is a common challenge on how to balance between showing some numbers and making a point at the executive level presentation. So maybe your thoughts on that in that sense, because I think especially at high level, numbers are important because the bosses want to see the numbers. But you keep putting too much numbers, then they cannot see much. So maybe you want to give some perspective to that.
All right. So the Slide Design Plus course is meant to help you or meant to help people to make use of the slides to help them progress in their career. Okay. So if let's say the slides, because I used to work in the bank before, if the CEO or the management team has already been very used to that 70s looks of slide and they prefer not to change it, then don't change anything. Because sometimes when you see their slides, right, you might not understand it but they have been looking at the same slide for the past 20 years. The boss already know which number, which angle to look at, even though it's like full of data, right? But they only know which one to look at, right? If you go and change it and they couldn't find the numbers, then you'll be in trouble. Okay, learn that with a personal experience. Because I've got pandai, I go and change, then I got myself into trouble. All right. But Surya, your question is when it comes to presenting numbers, right? I think when you come to our course, we also talk a little bit on charts and graph. So when we put numbers, right? Numbers, if you want to present data, you want to present numbers, you can't use like stock images. But one of the way is to visualize the numbers by using pie chart. You can use bar graph and you can use line graph, or line chart to show a different trend.
So I wanted to just explain that because I was in the course, and for those of you who are thinking, just add bar chart only, what's so difficult? You either copy and paste from Excel, populate there, or you generate a table from PowerPoint and then the bar chart will come out. I got to remind the audience that there is a significant difference after attending the course. And I think Jack actually highlights how you can visually create your charts or bar charts or pie charts to make it really impactful, to tell the story that is important to your audience. And I think it's very worth your while to actually maybe invest both your time and resources to actually attend this course happening tomorrow, right? Anything else you want to share with us, Jack?
Yeah. So I want to bring up a point based on this data presentation. So when I was in the bank, I was a data analyst, and I was the one who invested the time to learn about data visualization, how to make the slides look more beautiful. But the rest of my colleagues, they always felt that, hey, this is stupid. Why are you wasting time to do this? Nobody's going to look at how beautiful the slide is. People are going to focus on how accurate the slide is. But after I started this show, right, I noticed that some of my ex-colleagues who are still in the bank, they start joining in the session, and some even contacted me for a private free of course, friend free one-to-one coaching. I say, hey, why? I thought you say you don't need this. They say last time when you do presentation, your slides might be very busy, a lot of noisy, a lot of data. When the boss look at the slide, anything that they don't know, they will ask you, hey, what does this mean? But if you are there physically, you can explain the point. Yes. But right now, during this CMCO, where everyone is working from home, they don't get to meet the boss face to face. What they do is they just complete the deck and then they'll email it to the CEO. They'll email it to the head of department, right? So when the HOD look at it, nobody to explain to them. And if the slide doesn't really brings out the message that the presenter want to deliver, then sometimes the boss might look at the wrong thing. They will probably you want to focus on the increase in sales, but maybe they don't know where to look at. They look and say, hey, why this department dropped one? So naturally, bosses will ask those difficult questions. Then you will have to answer difficult questions. Yeah. So that could be one of the ways to save yourself as well.
So I also want to emphasize because before that I didn't have much of this mindset. I also was a very content driven person. To me, content is still key. You know, we always say the packaging nice to have lah. If got good, don't have, never mind. But until I joined the Big Four, wow, that really opened up my mind because when we were in the Big Four environment, one of the first orientation is to talk about corporate image. So all our slide has been preset a certain tone and color, certain font size, certain font, and even all that has been pre-registered. Of course, we got a lot of consultant who is recalcitrant to say that this is very rigid. I don't want to follow. But one of the lessons I learned, if you just follow whatever been preset by corporate com in that sense, no matter how bad is your content, your report looks very good. Or your slides look very good because it is already taken into care and thought. And that is where I felt when I attended your course, Jack, to be honest. It really reminds us of all the principles. If you follow them, somehow or rather, it will really enhance the content. And somehow, sometimes your content could be boring, quote unquote. But because you have visually tell the story to be so impactful, it changes the game. So I really, really thank you for for the session because it was very, very useful for me, at least.
Thank you for joining the session. Thank you for joining the session. Right. Yeah. So another thing that I want to share is during this course, right, I will not be sharing things that are very complicated because there are some people who may already know all the principle and concept and they already at advanced level and they want to go into a professional level, and probably this course will not be for them, all right? Because the course will only teach you three simple things to use text, images, and boxes or shapes. These three very basic things. So that everyone can jump into this bandwagon. Anyone can beautify their slides without spending hours and hours doing it. Worse, if you spend 40 hours pouring your heart and soul into the slides and you show your boss, right, and your boss say, hey, I cannot accept, I want you to revert to the old style, then you'll feel very dejected, you'll feel very disappointed. So if you were to only use 1 or 2 hours just to beautify the slides, send to your boss say, I don't want to reject, use back the old one. It's still okay you just waste 1-2 hours just to try it out yeah. So it is something that's very simple, very basic. Yeah.
So I think maybe simple is underplaying it. I think it's practical. I would say my personal opinion is practical. Number one, number two, while it's practical, it is also profound. I keep using this word profound is because you really need to be told of that simple principles for you to realize that aha moment to say, oh, it's like that. Then with that itself and overnight, if you practice more, that part and parcel becomes your habitual tendencies. So no matter what, now when you do your slide, you are very clear, that even the type of fonts, the type of images, is very critical. So I think because of that also now I'm very clear, no simply Google image and cut and paste because the resolution may not be correct, there maybe have a watermark, and distorted, and all that. That becomes part and parcel of my DNA already. So, and I think for our viewers who are still thinking about it, if you do participate in this course, I think these are the principles to be ingrained in you. Although it is simple, but it's ingrained in you. Then with that itself, when you do presentations, when you do your slides, these are naturally, it's a no-brainer. It's like grammar, like that, no-brainer, you don't even think about it and come out. So I think that is something that I would like to really emphasize here. I think there's another question here by Ted, by our good friend Ted Moy. Maybe he said so. Ted asking, hey Jack, do you offer slide formatting, redesigning, and templating services? Wow, this is diversion or pivot of services. So do you do that, Jack?
Okay, so maybe I want to also review. Actually, I don't do this full time. My full-time job is I'm doing leadership and change management training. Basically, my background is from emotional intelligence. So I run a lot of that workshop. It's just that by the way I learned these skills when I was working in the bank last time, and I use it in my slides. And also whenever I go train and sometimes I collaborate with other trainers, I tend to take their slides. I see, tak boleh lah, I think, but I didn't tell them lah. I will just proactively change their slide. And along the way, more and more people realize that, hey, what did you do to my slide? Looks like something changed, but I don't know what. It looks nicer. But as I go along, more and more people asking me to do the slides. I don't have that time to do this. I mean, it would be great if maybe after this CMCO, I change my business. Rather than doing training and consulting, I do slides formatting or redesigning.
No. I think what you should do, Jack, is after those who have attended your slide design plus class, all right, then you should recruit the 2, 3 better ones, or 2, 3, 5, 4, 4, 5 better ones, and then you come up with a higher masterclass module to train them to be expert in your Gongsu. Then we would have a panel of ready resources to deploy, and then I think that will be our new service line that you can offer in MindSpark Consulting.
Wow! Live coaching from Muihan. Wow, thank you, Muihan. But to answer that question very quickly, no, I don't do that currently. So for those people I do for them free because they are my friends. So those of you have got the slides makeover, only for friend only. So those of you, if you want your slides makeover, you have to come to my class tomorrow, 2 to 5 p.m. Slide Design Plus. Later we'll share with you. We log in as well as a promo code. You get a 33% discount. And come in. I'm sure after you learn all the basic principle, you can very quickly beautify all your entire slides. Yeah.
Okay, I look at my clock and it's 5:30. So maybe, yes, time for you to review promo code. We want promo code.
Okay. All right. So here is it. I mean, okay, you need to show. Yes. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, so you just need to probably scan the QR code. If not, later during the replay, you can actually pause it, or I'll just put the link later on after the show in the comment section. And you can take down the promo code Take5. And today we are already at the 33rd episode. So therefore, we are giving 33% discount of the price that you will see when you log into the website later on. Right. So do come if, let's say, you are somebody who uses a lot of slides and you want to improve it very quick and fast way without spending too much time. It will be, I promise you, it will be life-changing for you. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jack, for doing all our slides in the last 32 episodes. We really appreciate it. And for those of you who want to learn how to get it right, like what Jack has stated, I really do invite all of you to join this session tomorrow from 2 to 5 p.m. And do log on to the promo code so that you can get a 33% discount for this session. Okay, with that, I'd like to thank all audience for tuning in. Thank you very much for your support, and also thank you, Jack, to have you on the show today. And we will be back next Monday for another session, Take 5 at 5, all right? So with that, I'd like to wish everybody a very good evening. And yes, next Monday is also me hosting again, and this time we are hosting the other co-founder of Take 5 at 5, all right, which is Hilson Yap, right? So with that, thank you very much. Have a great evening. Stay safe, and bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.